What's up, guys? This is Gene Jensen. That's old Mr. Ryan Lamb in the back of the boat. I banned him to the back of the boat so he wouldn't hit me in the back of the head with whatever he's fishing with today. Today I want to talk to you about Bassmaster Live. Bassmaster Classic's coming up tomorrow, or this weekend. Ryan and I are leaving tomorrow to go to Houston, and Bassmaster Live is probably the best way to watch the Bassmasters Classic. And I want to kind of talk about how to get the most out of it. What kind of things you look for as you're watching it to be able to learn as much as you can as those pros are catching fish. All right, so the first thing I always look for, whether I'm watching a TV show or Bassmaster Live, is I look at the conditions. What's going on? Is it sunny? Is it cloudy? Is it, hazy? What's the sky look like? Is it windy like it is right now? I look at the conditions. I take into consideration the time of the year, and I really think down on Lake Conroe that it's going to be a post-spawn tournament. And so you might see some baits like spinner baits and moving baits, maybe somebody throwing a fluke, or I don't know, man, there's so many things you can throw in post spawn when the fish are feeding back up after the spawn. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a jig or something thrown quite a bit by a lot of those guys, but just kind of pay attention to what they're doing. How is the rod positioned? Are they down here low and cranking? Are they popping their rod? Are they like me and Ryan right now? We're both dragging. He's dragging a little finesse jig, but our rod's up at 10 o'clock. And we're just dragging with the rod, and just kind of see what their cadence is, and kind of get an idea of how fast they're fishing or how slow they're fishing, as opposed to what the conditions are. Go on the Weather Channel and see what the weather it has been the last few days. See whether it's cold front, post front, or whatever. Just look at the weather. Educate yourself as much as you can, as if you were fishing the tournament yourself. And then go and try to get as much information out of how you would fish, or how those pros fish those conditions, man. And you're going to learn so much from that. Another thing is, you make sure that you pay attention to what Zona says. Zona is an amazing fisherman, really good jig fisherman, really good all-around fisherman, and he knows enough, and he has enough insight to go, and these guys will tell him everything that they're doing and what they're using and how they're using it, and he'll be able to tell you. Another thing is, keep an eye on the live chat. I do both. I do the chat, and I do the Bassmaster Live, the video feed, and like I said, just pick up as much information as you can. I like to watch and see how fast they're moving their bait, or whether they're letting it sit still. I loved it a few years ago during the one on Lake of the Woods, I believe it was, or no? Yeah, anyway, the one up in the Midwest was really cold, where they were fishing a jerk bait, and I could see that as the water temperature was in the low 40s, and they were just jerk, pause, and they weren't jerking really hard. It was just little taps, just kind of paying attention to how they were working it. So I know that if I'm ever in a situation like 40, 45 degrees, I don't always have to jerk it like you would a normal jerk bait. You just kind of tap it, and it'll move just a little bit, like a really, really cold shad that is dying. The little things, it's all those little details that you pick up on, and you really will end up enjoying the Bassmasters Classic a whole lot more. Ryan, what are some of the things you look for when watching Bassmaster Live or any TV show?
Well, you kind of touched on it a little bit earlier with talking about weather. What I like to look for is any kind of weather changes and seeing how the guys adjust. That's the most interesting thing to me. I think a lot of times, me and you and a lot of other fishermen across the country struggle with the same thing. You'll be catching them, and it might be windy and cloudy, and then the sun comes out, the water slicks down, and all of a sudden the fish stop biting. And the reality is, the fish have not stopped biting, they're just biting something else. And these guys are the best in the world at picking up on those small changes and making the adjustments that are necessary to keep on catching them. So what I like to look for is sometimes there's going to be days where you're going to have similar weather for the majority of the day, but I really, really enjoy watching. I'll start seeing a little more light come out, or maybe the wind lays down a little bit, and all of a sudden you'll see them pick up another rod, man. They are on it. They are so keyed in that they usually know what's going on. So for me, that has definitely been the most beneficial thing over the years, is just watching the adjustments that they seem to instantly know how to make.
Yep.
As soon as something changes in that weather. So if I had one piece of advice, that would be it. That to you know, just pay attention to those small little details.
Yep.
Because then you can take that and go apply it on your home water. Because like we always say, a bass is a bass is a bass, and
Yep.
a bass at Lake Conroe that reacts to, you know, weather changing from cloudy to sunny is going to do the same thing at pretty much any other lake in the country. So that's what I am going to be paying attention
So you do a lot of asking yourself why.
Yes.
You know, why did they do that? Why did they make that decision?
Exactly.
So that's really cool. I like that.
Okay, so another thing that I really enjoy during these tournaments, and especially the Classic, is watching at how efficient these guys are when they fish. I mean, when you watch someone like Kevin Van Dam, I mean, his bait is coming out of the water and is already back and being slung out before you can blink. I mean, that's why they get those awesome pictures in the magazine where the water is just exploding off the reel. Because, I mean, these guys are so good at shaving off a quarter of a second each cast. At the end of the day, if they've made, you know, I mean, they might get 20, 25 extra casts, and that can be the difference between, you know, making the cut or even winning the thing, you know?
Yep.
So watching their efficiency and seeing how good they are at managing time, at managing, you know, all the fine little details throughout the day is pretty, it's pretty amazing to me. So I definitely am always looking for little ideas that I can see and watch on there that I can apply to when we're fishing, on, you know, how to beat you, how to, you know, when we're on the water, how to make sure I continuously put more fish in the boat than you do. So
Whatever.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to get to watch the Bassmaster live. I'll actually be at the expo, sitting at the Fishing Shirt of the Month Club booth and a couple other booths. But so if you're at the Bassmaster Classic Expo, our booth number is 233. Come by and say hi. I'm either going to be there or the Seagar booth. I'm also going to be doing some running around, doing some filming, some pretty cool stuff. But enjoy it. I'll leave the link down in the description to Bassmaster Live and to the chat feed, and get out there and really have fun learning as much as you can instead of just being entertained by whatever is going on the water. You might as well get as much out of it as you possibly can. So like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go out and catch some fish. Have a great day. Thanks for helping me, Ryan. Appreciate it.
So I am an extremely wannabe, you know, patch pirate tackle whore. So what I look for is any sponsor that I can see on my favorite fisherman's boat, and I go and buy every product that they promote. And usually they're lying about everything they're throwing, but since I am such a patch pirate and I'm such a bait whore, when I see, you know, Aaron Martins or let's say Iconelli talk about throwing the shadow wrap when really he's throwing I don't know, a Bagley jerkbait or a mega bass, I'm gonna go buy that Rapala Shad Wrap, you know, and that way I can say, you know, I'm throwing what Iconelli said to throw, and I can be a better patch pirate, and I can represent my fellow patch pirates well.
Well, that's why you're fishing with me. Free baits.
Exactly. So that's all. That's what I'm here for. That was what I was born to do, and that is to just fish for discounted baits. Really, is what I'm satisfied with. There was even you know, a rod sponsorship where I had to buy 8 rods to get in at a discounted price, but they told me I was pro staff, and so that alone right there took my fishing to the next level, and so I think that's really important. So
I'm a pro staffer. It cost me $500,000, but I'm still a pro staffer.
I guess if there was anything that I had to say for this tournament, that would be my #1 thing not to miss.
I bought my wrap.